The night had a strange stillness to it. The wind outside the old countryside house had stopped, leaving behind a silence so deep that even their breathing seemed too loud. Emma lay awake beside Daniel, staring at the cracked ceiling. That's when she heard it again, a faint, deliberate scratching under the bed. At first, she thought it might be a mouse. But the sound wasn't random. It was slow, steady, like nails dragging over wood. She froze, holding her breath. The sound stopped, then came again, closer this time. Her hand reached for Daniel's arm. "Danny, did you hear that?" she whispered. He stirred, half asleep. "It's an old house, Em. Wood settles. Go back to sleep." But Emma couldn't. The scratching grew softer, slower, almost teasing. Her heartbeat thudded in her ears. She leaned over the edge of the bed and peered into the darkness below. Nothing. Just the gap beneath the floorboards, black as a void. "Emma." Morning brought sunlight and the smell of dust. Daniel laughed it off, joking about country rats. They spent the day unpacking, laughter in the kitchen, the echo of footsteps on wood. But when night came again, the silence returned. Emma lay in bed trying to stay calm. Then she heard it, the scratching, louder this time. It was right beneath her side of the bed. She sat up sharply, her throat dry. The sound stopped the moment she moved. "Daniel, it's happening again," she whispered. Daniel groaned, pulling the blanket over his head. "You're overthinking it. It's nothing." But it didn't feel like nothing. She pressed her ear to the cold wooden floor. Beneath the boards, something moved. Slow, deliberate, like it was crawling just inches away from her face. She jerked back. The lamp flickered. For a long time there was only silence. Then came a single soft tap from below. Emma clutched the blanket, eyes wide open. The tapping turned into a scrape, then faintly, impossibly, a whisper. Her name. Emma. Her stomach dropped. She stared at the floor, trembling. The voice was soft, almost childlike. She shook Daniel awake, tears welling in her eyes. "Daniel, someone's down there." He sat up, annoyed. "No one's under the floor, Emma. You're just—" He stopped mid-sentence. The boards beneath them let out a low, groaning creak, as if something heavy had just shifted beneath the bed. The light flickered once more, then went out completely. In the suffocating darkness, the whisper came again, closer, clearer. "Emma, I'm here." Emma woke to the sound of her name being whispered again. Soft, deliberate, right beside her ear. But when she turned, Daniel was asleep, his breathing deep and steady. The room was dim, pale moonlight spilling through the curtains. For a moment, everything was still. Then the whisper came again, from beneath the floor. She froze. "Who's there?" Her voice was a shaky whisper swallowed by the darkness. The sound stopped, leaving only silence thick enough to make her heart pound louder. She slowly got out of bed and knelt on the cold wooden floor. When she pressed her ear against it, she could hear something. Faint, slow breathing, and then a small, childlike hum, almost like someone singing a lullaby beneath her feet. In the morning, Daniel found her sitting at the edge of the bed, pale and silent. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. "You didn't sleep again, did you?" She shook her head, whispering, "There's something down there." Daniel sighed, forcing a smile. "It's an old house, Em. Probably raccoons. I'll check it out later." He pulled back the rug to look and froze. Thin, jagged claw marks covered the wooden boards. Not scratches from an animal. These were deep, straight and long, like fingernails dragged with purpose. That night, Emma couldn't stop glancing at the floor. Every creak made her jump. Daniel tried to reassure her, reading in bed, pretending not to notice the fear in her eyes. But as the clock struck 2, the sound began again. This time, it wasn't scratching. It was breathing, steady, human, just below them. Emma gripped her phone, recording the sound. The floor vibrated softly with each breath. Her heart raced as she stopped the recording and played it back. At first, she heard the same sound, then buried within it, a voice. "Let me out." She dropped the phone, staring at Daniel in horror. He played the recording again, frowning. "That's just noise, Emma, interference or something." But even as he said it, his face had gone pale. The next morning, he covered the marks on the floor with a rug, pretending everything was fine. But Emma couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every time she passed the bedroom, she felt the faintest vibration beneath her feet, like something waiting. That night, as the wind howled outside, the floor suddenly thudded, once, then again, heavier each time. The boards swelled upward, bulging, as if something was pushing from below. Emma screamed Daniel's name. The light flickered violently, and then, in the brief silence that followed, the voice came again, this time louder, almost joyful. "Emma, I'm coming." The next morning, Daniel woke to the smell of damp air and the faint sound of water dripping. Emma was sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the floorboards like they might move again. Neither of them had slept. The bulge in the wood from the night before was still there, proof that it hadn't been a dream. Daniel finally decided to look for the source. In the hallway, behind a loose panel, he found something odd, a small, square outline in the wall. A hidden door. It was sealed with old, rusted nails. The smell of mold hit them the moment he pried it open. A narrow staircase led down into darkness. "Maybe this leads to the basement," he muttered, though Emma could hear the unease in his voice. They descended slowly, their flashlight beam trembling against the wet stone walls. The air grew colder with each step, until their breaths fogged in front of them. At the bottom lay a basement that looked untouched for decades. Cobwebs hanging thick like curtains, the floor slick with dirt and dried leaves. In one corner sat a broken crib, its wood blackened with rot. Emma bent closer, her light revealing something painted on the wall behind it, small red handprints, smeared as if by a child. A faded lullaby tune box rested nearby, the same melody she'd heard whispering through the floor. Daniel swallowed hard. "It's probably from the family who used to live here." He found an old newspaper on a shelf, brittle and yellow with age. The headline read, "Local family vanishes. Only child found dead under floor." Emma's hands shook as she held the paper. "Daniel." "The floor," she whispered. He didn't respond. His flashlight caught something beneath the crib, scratch marks in the concrete, as if someone had clawed at it desperately. Then a soft humming filled the air, the same lullaby. Only this time, it wasn't coming from the music box. It echoed through the basement, drifting from the vents above them. Emma's breath hitched. "It's the same song. It's upstairs." The light flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling, a rhythmic tapping, almost like footsteps walking across the floor above them. They turned toward the stairs, but the door at the top slammed shut, the sound echoing like a gunshot. Emma screamed, rushing to it, pounding with both fists. "Daniel, it won't open!" He tried too, yanking at the handle, but it wouldn't move. From behind the door came a faint shuffle, then the slow dragging of something heavy across the floorboards. Emma pressed her ear to the door, trembling. From the other side, something whispered, the same soft, childlike voice. "Don't open it. He's still down there." Darkness swallowed them whole. The candle Daniel lit barely cut through the black, its flame trembling in the cold air. The basement was deathly silent now, too silent. Even their own breathing sounded wrong, too loud, too uneven. Then came the scratching, soft at first, from somewhere behind the walls, then circling them, closing in. Emma gripped Daniel's arm. "It's down here with us," she whispered. He shook his head, though his eyes darted toward the shadows. "It's just rats, Emma. Stay calm." But then a voice answered from the dark, low, rasping, and unmistakably human. "Not rats." The candle flickered violently. For a moment, Emma saw it. A pale shape crawling across the wall, limbs bent the wrong way, its head twisting toward her. The candle went out. The basement plunged into blackness. Emma screamed. Daniel fumbled for his phone light, his hands shaking. When the beam finally lit the room, the thing was gone. Only footprints remained, small, muddy, like those of a child, circling them in a perfect ring. "We need to leave," Emma cried, pulling at his arm. Daniel nodded, rushing to the stairs. The basement door above them rattled again. From behind it came the sound of nails dragging slowly against the wood, followed by a whisper. "Let me in." Daniel grabbed a crowbar from the shelf, his voice breaking. "I'm ending this. Whatever's under that floor, I'll tear it out." They forced the basement door open and stumbled back into the house. The boards creaked beneath their feet, alive with movement. The whispers came from everywhere now, layers of voices, crying, humming, calling their names. Daniel ran to the bedroom, prying at the floorboards with shaking hands. Emma begged him to stop, tears streaking her face. "Please don't. It wants you to open it." He didn't listen. With one final pull, the board cracked open. A rush of cold, foul air burst upward. Beneath, in the dirt, lay the remains of a small skeleton clutching an old photograph. A woman's face, nearly identical to Emma's. Daniel froze. The air turned icy. Something grabbed his wrist from below. He screamed, dropping the crowbar. The boards around the hole splintered and folded inward, as if the floor itself was swallowing him whole. Emma tried to hold on, but his hand slipped from hers, vanishing into the darkness. The boards slammed shut. Silence returned. Hours later, rescuers found Emma kneeling on the bedroom floor, shaking and covered in dust. The boards were freshly nailed down from the inside. As they carried her away, one officer lingered, hearing a faint sound beneath the floor. A whisper. "Now there's room for one more."